Welcome to the most authoritative sporting channel here on social media. This is your boy Med. Today's episode is such an interesting one as I would be bringing you my take on the upcoming fight between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London. This is going to be a very interesting bout by all standards, as we are being told that these two pugilists are born rivals. But this is going to be the third fight between the Eubank family and the Benn family, with Chris Eubank Sr. winning one and drawing one. Now, the onus lies on their children to bring glory to the family. Who would it be? Would it be Chris Eubank Jr.? Would it be Conor Benn? I'll be bringing you my take and how I anticipate this fight would go at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So if this is the type of boxing content you do enjoy on social media, you are definitely at the right place. So hit the subscribe button if you have not already. Press the bell icon, express your views in the comment section, and share so others can enjoy it. Now, the first thing I would like to take you through is the tale of the tape for both fighters. Chris Eubank Jr. is the older man and the most experienced fighter of the two. He is 35 years, whilst Conor Benn is 28. Chris Eubank Jr. is 1 inch shy of 6 inches. That is, he is 5'11", whilst Conor Benn stands at 5'8". The reach advantage is with Chris Eubank Jr. 72.5 inches, whilst Conor has 68. Now, there is a huge gap in the fight discrepancy. Chris Eubank Jr. 37 fight, Conor Benn 23 fight. Wins for Chris is 33, wins for Benn is 23. Chris has 3 losses, with one of those 3 coming by way of knockout. Then Conor Benn remains undefeated. So this man has never been defeated, and it is difficult breaking an undefeated man. Now, Conor Benn has 14 knockouts, whilst Chris Eubank Jr. has 25 knockouts. And this was quite interesting. Chris Eubank Jr. has more knockouts than Conor Benn has more fights. So this is quite interesting, and we are going to talk about it. But now let me give you the background story to this particular fight and how we got here. These two pugilists were expected to fight about 3 years ago in October, and the fight got cancelled due to Conor Benn failing multiple drug tests, having been tested for a banned substance clomiphene, which is used in treating fertility in women, especially women who cannot ovulate. The Daily Mail broke that story on the 4th, and on the 5th, the WBC, the British Boxing Board of Control, I mean to say, called off the fight, making it quite a bad feeling since then. These two guys have been at each other's throat since then, and we all remember that the first fight was going to be at a catch weight of 157 pounds, where Chris Eubank Jr. made that particular weight on the weigh-in day and was looking like a zombie, as many expected him not to be able to make that weight. But Conor Benn then put up a team to clear his name, and his name has since not been solidly clear. The WBC did a job by saying that per their investigation, Conor Benn ate a lot of eggs that contained clomiphene. That was why he had that banned substance in his body. I came to debunk that by stating that clomiphene are banned substance in the production of poultry in the UK. So there is no way Conor Benn living in the UK should have clomiphene in his bloodstreams. Now, the UCAD saga continues as they maintain their stance. There was a PR stance for Conor Benn where he went to Piers Morgan, and it was quite shameful. He did a bad press of himself. Then this went on and on. Conor Benn came back and fought in America. He fought 2 fights. He fought first Rodolph, and that was at 153 pounds. That was his weigh-in. And when he fought Peter Dobson, he fought at 150 pounds. So this means that this fight happening at 160 is a weight at which Conor Benn has never competed before. So this is This is something we should have in mind. And Conor Benn has not been a welterweight for the past 3 years. He has not competed as a welterweight for the past 3 years. So Conor Benn cannot be moving 2 weights up. He is just moving a weight up. Per his last weigh-in, he was fighting in the junior middleweight division. I think that it was a strategy for him to move up in weight and prepare him for the 160 pounds. But one thing we noticed about Conor Benn, when he moved up in weight, he did not carry his power along because he had looked explosive. He has had a lot of clean shots hitting his two opponents who are not highly rated. All these two opponents are 2-star rated opponents, and Conor Benn's punch did not have an effect on them, and that is something we must look out for. Looking at the last 5 fights of Chris Eubank Jr. and looking at the last 5 fights of Conor Benn, I think that Chris Eubank Jr. is head and shoulders ahead of Conor Benn. Chris Eubank Jr. has fought the better fighters, Liam Smith, Liam Williams, who else has he fought? He has fought the best fighters, whilst Chris Eubank Jr. is fighting a Wash Chris Algieri, the South African Chris, then the Jamaican Peter Dobson, and the Mexican Rodolfo. So now I think that Chris Eubank Jr. would be the much more favorite in this particular fight. I don't think that Eddie Hearn believes in the talent of Conor Benn personally. If Eddie Hearn truly believes in the talent of Conor Benn personally, I think that he should be getting him a world title opportunity other than chasing Chris Eubank Jr. Maybe they feel that the Chris Eubank Jr. fight would not always be there, but a world title opportunity would be there. But I beg to differ that Conor Benn cannot beat any of the world champions in the welterweight division, where he is making us believe that he is still a welterweight, and he can't beat any of the world champions in the 154 division. Let me take you through the champions in both weight class and tell you why Chris Eubank Jr. is not Conor Benn is not competing for a world title. Jerome Booth Ennis is a unified champion holding IBF and WBA. Mario Barros, who is the weak link in terms of the talent among the champions at the welterweight division, holds the WBA belt, and I think that he beats Conor Benn because of the level of opponents he has faced. Then Brian Norman Jr. holds the WBA. That young man is quite talented and will give Conor a run for his money, as even as at this stage he has shown better skill than Conor Benn, in my humble opinion. When you go to 154 division, where Conor Benn is competing right now, we have Terence Buck Crawford, who holds the WBA title. Fendora is a unified champion, 6'6" lanky puncher boxer in the person of Fendora, who holds the WBO and the WBC. Whilst the Russian Mortazaliv hold the IBF. So those are the champions around the division in which Conor Benn is competing, and on paper I don't see him beating any of these two. So they have to just try a way of moving him up in order to get this particular fight. But I don't like the rehydration clause for Chris Eubank Jr., as he can't rehydrate to a normal weight, any weight of his choice. That would mean that there would be less fluids around his brain. Then that would make the fight a difficult one for him when he is touched cleanly by Conor Benn. But first of all, let me go to the fight proper. And I anticipate a good fight by all standards. I anticipate that the aggressiveness of Conor Benn would be brought to bear, and he would do good in this particular fight. Yes, I think he would do good, and that good would be for just first 3 rounds. I don't see him giving up a match performance beyond 3-4 rounds, because Chris Eubank Jr. is already in his head. Chris Eubank Jr., like him or hate him, is able to control a lot of things when he is fighting. He is calm, he is collected, he is annoying, and he always is in control. So he has already gotten into the head of Conor Benn, and Eddie Hearn has stated that Conor Benn will win this particular fight within 3 rounds. He'll win it within 5 rounds. And as at yesterday, during the media workout, he says Conor Benn would win this particular fight within 6 rounds. So what is Eddie Hearn really saying? Eddie Hearn really is saying that his boxer does not have the capacity to go beyond 6 rounds of boxing. And that goes to tell us that he would be coming in for an early stoppage, and I don't think he would get it because he hasn't faced a boxer. Though I don't rate Chris Eubank Jr. highly personally, I don't think that Conor Benn also has the enough skill and tool in his box to upset Chris Eubank Jr. Chris Eubank Jr. is bigger, but Conor Benn is fighter. How long can he use his speed at 160 pounds where he will rehydrate more? I don't think that he would carry that speed that much. He would be faster, but his speed would reduce and would make Chris Eubank Jr. easy for him to time. Chris Eubank Jr. would be able to time Conor Benn because he will not be as fast. Chris Eubank Jr. is bigger. He would hold him when he comes into mid-range, and Chris Eubank Jr. would start punching him, throwing the body shot, fighting from a distance in the earlier rounds, and Conor Benn would easily get frustrated. We have seen Conor Benn. He has been polished and it's been sold to us. Okay, we are buying it. We are interested in seeing that nostalgic fight between Benn and Eubank again, and this time it's just in their children. So we want to see how this fight goes. That is the only selling point for this particular fight. If not, it is a total mismatch. Chris Eubank Jr. is the more skillful fighter. He is the more experienced fighter. He has fought better opponents, better styles than Conor Benn, and I see him coming on top with those body shots that would weaken Conor Benn, and I see around 9 or 10 devastating stoppage for Chris Eubank Jr. Chris Eubank Jr. is going to emerge victorious because I don't see Conor Benn being able to carry his energy beyond 5 rounds as I expected to dip drastically, and he would become very slow, a punching bag, and the referee may rescue him in the later rounds, or he would get stopped devastatingly by the 9th or 10th round. This is my prediction for this particular fight. But all the same, Chris Eubank Jr. Senior has stated that he wouldn't be in his son's corner, as he has labeled his son has been disgraceful for taking this fight just for the money and not looking out for his health. That is a father that cares. That is the reason why I did not initially want this fight. But as it is happening, you have to throw our support behind the fighters for them to be able to make the maximum profit out of the fight. Thank you for watching. If this is the type of content you do enjoy and you have still not subscribed, subscribe, as I've predicted a Chris Eubank Jr. win, and like, because it is going to be a knockout win for Chris Eubank Jr. Thank you for watching. Stay positive.